Well, a third suspect has been arrested following raids by the Hawks on various properties around Gauteng. 2 people were arrested following the Hawks raid on the Gupta compound in Saxonwold North of Johannesburg earlier this morning. 2 more people are expected to hand themselves over to the Hawks by the end of today. It's been confirmed that the raids are linked to the controversial Estina dairy project in Vrede in the Free State, as well as the investigation into alleged state capture. Residents from the suburb of Saxonwold say they are happy that the Hawks have swooped in on the Gupta family home. Dozens of members from the Hawks and the South African Police Services raided the upmarket home, and police were also seen leaving the house with several files. The raid is believed to be a part of a larger probe into alleged state capture and allegations of corruption related to the Vrede dairy farm in the Free State. This is what some residents had to say. All right, we'll get that clip for you in just a bit. Some reaction from the residents living in the neighborhood, essentially neighbors of the Guptas, following that early morning raid. But our Chriselda Lewis is there. She's been there since early this morning monitoring developments. Now, Chriselda, good afternoon to you. I mean, the scene where so much related to the Guptas unfolded this morning, it's all clear there now, but earlier there was a sea of blue lights, the Hawks swooping in, and some arrests have even been made.
Well, that's right, Natasha. That clearly indicates that the Hawks' investigation into the Estina dairy farm in Vrede in the Free State and a portion of the state capture investigation is at an advanced stage. That's what we've been hearing from the Hawks at this stage. What the Hawks have clarified that indeed this was not a raid. In actual fact, they had come here to arrest several individuals. What we do know at this stage also, Natasha, is that more arrests are expected in these 2 particular matters. A source that we have spoken to since very early this morning, who has not been incorrect about the information they've given to us, clearly indicates that there are 13 more people or suspects who are the eyes that the Hawks have their eyes on. 13 of those linked to the Estina dairy farm, as well as 2 others suspects who the Hawks have their eyes on relating to a leg of the state capture investigation. So certainly what we do understand is that while 3 arrests have been made now and 2 suspects are expected to hand themselves over to police, there are many more arrests that are expected, as you correctly pointed out, that this is not the only place that the Hawks have been raiding since this morning. We do understand there are several other properties in other suburbs in Johannesburg, including in Bedfordview, where the Hawks have swooped on. We have no further details regarding what took place at those raids at this time, but we're certainly awaiting more information from the Hawks at this time. But this certainly does not come as a surprise, Natasha, I must indicate. You would recall as well that the Police Minister, Fikile Mbalula, had previously indicated that they were working quite fast to ensure that those implicated in state capture and those who were believed to have been responsible for the looting regarding the Vrede dairy farm project in the Free State were very close to being arrested. So that's all coming to fruition now here this morning, and the expectation now, we understand, while we don't have exact clarity on that, is that the individuals who have so far been arrested and those who might possibly hand themselves over this afternoon might appear in court tomorrow.
All right, so with these arrests that have taken place so far, it's a clear indication then that there is enough evidence against those implicated to actually make these arrests.
Absolutely, Natasha. You'd recall, as we'd been in conversation with the Hawks over the past couple of months, in fact, to try and understand how close they were to arresting the individuals who were implicated in the Vrede farm looting scandal, as it's referred to, as well as a certain leg of the state capture investigation. It clearly does give an indication, as I earlier indicated, that these investigations by the Hawks are at an advanced stage. They do believe that that there is a watertight case against these individuals who have been arrested, and they do believe they have enough reason to take them to court. So certainly at this stage there is a clear indication that the Hawks do have something. When we tried to peep in to the gate here just behind me much earlier on this morning, when there'd been dozens of police officers, we did see them carrying some files, but when I did speak to the Hawks spokesperson a bit earlier on, they did not mention any seizures that had taken place, but did say that this was not a raid but a complete arrest. They came here this morning with the intention to make those arrests, and that's certainly what has happened. But it does certainly give an indication that the Hawks do believe that they do have enough evidence at this stage to drag those who have so far been arrested to court.
All right, and there's some speculation around the timing of this, but as you say, this is quite an advanced investigation, so it's not necessarily that they planned it for today because of the latest political developments, but still, the timing of it does send some kind of a message, doesn't it?
I wouldn't really want to speculate on that, Natasha, but what I can certainly point out is that you'd recall over the past couple of weeks, the acting head of the Hawks, Yolisa Matagata, did mention to some broadcast media that there were arrests that were imminent in this matter. In actual fact, I do know that some of these arrests were expected to take place sometime last week, but it only happened today. But, the Hawks have been investigating this matter and had previously indicated, including the police minister, that there were arrests that were imminent. I would quite understand why others would perhaps say the timing of these arrests could be quite suspicious. We know that the country itself at this point is going through a transition, and you'd know, of course, that this long-awaited announcement that you're all waiting for, and all South Africans are waiting for, from President Jacob Zuma, responding, of course, to him being recalled. Some have tried to link that perhaps to what is taking place here in Saxonwold and the other suburbs in Johannesburg, because you must remember that the Gupta family have been at the center of the state capture allegations in this country and have been accused of unduly benefiting from the state. So I would not be surprised at this point if there are references or links that are being tried to be made regarding the arrest today and the current political climate in the country. But of course, all that the Hawks are willing to say at this point is that they believe their investigations have led them to this point. They do believe that the evidence that they have secured is enough for them to have made these arrests, and they do say that much more of those arrests are quite imminent.
All right, Chriselda, thanks so much for clearing that all up for us. Our Chriselda Lewis outside the Gupta home in Saxonwold, where there was that raid earlier this morning.